Are you thinking about using Godot to make your game? If you remember from our last videos on Godot, we're big fans of the engine because it's free, open source, has zero royalties and fees associated with it, and has an amazing community. Not only that, but the future is also bright for Godot, since receiving an Epic Mega Grant for $250,000 earlier this year. Well, the Godot community has grown even more, so we thought it was time for another showcase. In this video, we will look at more new and upcoming games being made with Godot. Please note that we have no promotional arrangement in place with Godot or any of the devs from these games. We just like supporting free, open source software and the developers in that community. We are Ask Game Dev, and these are 7 games made in Godot that we're excited about. Welcome back. We make videos on how to elevate your game development and inspire others. If after watching this video you want to continue the game dev conversation, check the video description for a link to our Discord server. We're now making fresh Ask Game Dev content on all of the major social networks, so be sure to check us out there too. First up on the list, Until Then by Polychroma Games. The world hasn't ended yet. Mark, an average, irresponsible high school student, tries to get by and find purpose in a humdrum life of scrolling, cramming, and traffic. He meets friends, both old and new, and embarks upon seemingly never-ending trouble until nothing is ever the same again. Until Then is a contemporary adventure game set in the Philippines, centered around a smartphone mechanic. Chat with your friends and explore the depths of social networks and interwebs, where your replies and interactions may pose consequences. Dealing with themes of friendship, family, high school, and life in general, Polychroma Games is setting out to make something that'll have a lasting, cathartic impact on people, something that'll touch their hearts long after the ending credits. The Philippines-based studio started development on Until Then in late 2019. The team started as a group of 3, but has slowly grown to a team of 2 writers, 3 artists, and 1 composer. The project was born out of an appreciation for story games like Night in the Woods and Life is Strange, and 2.5D pixel art games like The Last Night and Backbone. In terms of gameplay, the devs have always loved the concept of tech being a core gameplay mechanic, like in the game Emily is Away, a game that also inspired their previous title, Scene. In this game, one of the major mechanics is the smartphone. Players navigate through dialogue and chat choices and also interact on social media apps to drive the story forward. In terms of art, the team's goal is to blend the realism of modern graphics and the simplicity of pixel art to craft a cinematic aesthetic. They like to judge their scenes by asking, would this be a good loop for a lo-fi hip-hop stream? The release date for Until Then, for now, is 2020X. An earlier teaser video stated 2021, but that might have been an initial miscalculation. Well, whatever year it comes out, we'll be waiting eagerly to give it a shot. Check out polychromagames.com to stay up to date on their development. Next up on the list is a game that you can play today, Resolution by Monolith of Minds. In Resolution, you escort Valor and his curious AI companion, Alibi, through chaotic combat, confusing puzzles, and moments of unsettling calm to save your reality from shattering into chaos. Resolution's 2D dream world of lovely pixels, jokes, deep ideas, and emotional tunes is inspired by classic Zelda and similar action-adventure games. The vast open world spans across 10 varied levels, from the cloud cities to the bottom of the ocean, deserts populated by dead giants, lucid forests with talking wildlife and forsaken ruins overgrown by the flesh's corruption. Players can wield up to 12 weapons and items, ranging from the deadly to the bizarre. A minigun, flower shield and speed scarf, a boot with mutating liquid, the yellow warm bolshi, a mysterious theremin, and more. 5 years ago in 2015, the devs, twins from Germany, Ricci and Gunther, decided to create their first video game without any prior experience or related skills. The idea was simple. How would a classic Zelda game feel if set in a dystopian science fiction world? Star Wars meets The Matrix while stumbling into Alice in Wonderland's famous rabbit hole. A then-young game engine called Godot seemed like a good choice for newbies, as they fooled around with all those buttons, animation controls, and pipelines. They certainly did not expect Godot to become the most popular open-source engine while they pieced together their title. The twins learned to code, push pixels, explore mechanics, design levels, write characters, build worlds, and piece it all together in the most unprofessional manner ever. And they loved it. Along the way, they met exceptional people all around the world. Chris Rafferty added finesse to each animation, while Garrett Wolf's synth and beats melted into the best soundscape one could wish for in a cyberpunk game. Finally, Deck 13 published Resolution in late May 2020 for PC and Nintendo Switch. And since then, the team has been recovering from one of the longest, hardest, and most valuable experiences in their lives. Resolution is available now on Steam and Nintendo Switch. Next up, Mini Stealth by brothers Fur and Santiago Gonzalez. Mini Stealth is a fast-paced action stealth platformer where you use a grappling hook to freely move through the levels while avoiding instant death. You play as Orange, whose objective is to eliminate people for the organization in which he works. While it sounds very straightforward, the devs want to portray a fairly human character who, despite doing all those incredible things, is an individual first, with insecurities, fears, goals, and dreams. Hailing from Argentina, the duo behind Mini Stealth kicked off development a year ago. Fur, the main developer, decided to try Godot in his spare time as a distraction from work. His plan was to develop a short game with it, but slowly it evolved into something bigger, and he started to see potential in the concept. Soon, because of his appreciation of the genre and the fact that there aren't a lot of new indie stealth games, he decided to make a full title. The game uses fast movements and open spaces to give the player freedom to choose their approach for completing each level. The core of the game, however, revolves around stealth, as the enemies are equipped with one-shot kills, and the game also rewards you if you eliminate them without anyone noticing. Although Fur has already made games in the past, Mini Stealth is going to be the largest he's ever made. Also, the first game with original music thanks to the help of his brother, Santiago. The team hopes to be able to share a demo soon. For now, check out Fur's itch page at furgonzalez.itch.io. Number 4 on the list is the beautiful bullet hell title, Guardian Sphere, by AAA and Pixel Boy. It's the year 2000 XXX, and Earth is attacked by an unknown species. Choose from one of 8 unique Guardians and fend off the alien invasion. Guardian Sphere is a 1- or 2-player co-op shmup with some amazing pixel art and charming character designs. You can actually play it right now on Pixel Boy's itch page. The team behind the game are 2 2D artists from France, AAA and Pixel Boy, who, like others on this list, are brothers. The duo started their game dev journey using GameMaker, starting off making small games, the longest being about 2 months of work. For their games, they chose to focus on mostly pixel art titles with arcade gameplay. Their love for multiplayer games, though, influenced their decision to make many of their games playable for 2 or more. They transitioned from GameMaker Studio to Godot over a year ago. As developers, they found that Godot was well thought out in terms of design and less limiting. It also has many tools that allow for working with a visual interface. Overall, the team believes that Godot is a pleasant and suitable solution for making 2D pixel art or 3D low-poly games. The fact that Godot is free also made their transition easier. To check out more of their games, check out Pixel Boy's itch page. You can also follow and support the devs on Patreon. Check out the description for links. At number 5, we have Hive Time by Cheeseness. Hive Time is a cute and zany bee-themed management sim/base builder. Harvest resources, manage your bees, and grow your hive. Navigate through wasps, caterpillars, and slugs to ensure that your hive is around for the next generation. It's one of the most unique concepts on any of our game showcase lists, and we love looking at this whimsical bee world. Hive Time was initially prototyped by Josh Cheeseness Bush and Miriam Mimness Roser as part of a 10-day game jam in May 2019. Mim returned to her day job, and Cheese spent the next 7 months developing Hive Time into a full game, bringing on Peter Silk to compose its wonderful and whimsical soundtrack. Hive Time is available now for Linux, Mac OS version 10.14 or lower, and Windows. You can find it on Cheeseness's itch page. The penultimate title on our list is Bottomless by Rafael Pica. When we first saw Bottomless, we stopped in our tracks. The beautiful scenery and pixel art combined with the lighting and particle effects just made for such a pleasing combination. Bottomless was made for Godot Wild Jam number 19 and is the devs Rafael Pica, or Rafa's, first completed project using Godot. The title was primarily a solo project, with Rafa doing the coding, art, and game design. The music was composed by a friend, Paulo. Rafa chose Godot because he found while using it really fit his work style. Once he discovered Godot, he started a number of small projects, all for fun, with the purpose of learning the engine. He quickly realized, though, that while starting projects is fun, he really wanted to finish something. His solution? Participate in a game jam, and thus, Bottomless was born. The theme of the jam was exploration, which is what drove Bottomless's design. Rafa spent every available minute of the jam working on the title, and results really speak for themselves. Since launching the title on itch, Rafa's received a lot of positive feedback, and so he is now working on making it into a full game. No release date yet, as it is a solo project, and as Rafa points out, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You can check out Bottomless on Rafa's itch page. Before we get to the last game on the list, we have one additional entry. This next title isn't a game, but we wanted to include it to show you that you can make more than just games with Godot. Check out Pixelorama by Orama Interactive. Pixelorama is a free and open-source sprite editor, ideal for pixel art, including animations. It is available for Windows, Linux, Mac OS, and soon on the web. It's made entirely with the Godot engine and is in active development. Orama Interactive are a team of 4 that work on a number of different projects. They started Pixelorama in the summer of 2019, and it's still under active development. It first started as a hobby project, but it eventually grew to their most popular and loved project. Still relatively early in development, the team is listening to the feedback of the community and are working hard to implement requested features. They plan to release versions that add more functionality to make it even more usable, with their ultimate goal of publishing a version 1.0 release, once the community feels like Pixelorama has all the basic features that are required for it to be used for production. After that, the team is committed to supporting it for the long run. As long as people are supporting us, we'll never stop working on it. You can find Pixelorama on Orama Interactive's itch page. For our last title, because we know you love them, we have a solo dev. Our final title on the list is The Garden Path by Louis Durant. The Garden Path is a sandbox gardening game. Players will emerge into a long-forgotten garden and unlock tools to help shape the garden into something they can call their own. How the player chooses to grow their garden will affect their entire experience. Their choices will affect who chooses to live there, from a pool of many possible vegetable-headed inhabitants. Players' playstyles will also unlock stars, from which constellations can be formed. These constellations will cast unique conditions across the map, such as a permanent night garden or longer blooming flowers. But wait, there's more. Here are some other details to expect. Traveling merchants can be bartered with and befriended to help unlock new gear, or purchase furniture and trinkets to help players carve and customize their own corner of the garden. Fish are caught by whistling a song particular to each fish. Every caught fish holds a song that can be played to the garden for a number of effects, like helping plants grow or altering the weather. Time in the garden path is tied to real time, but with seasons passing each week and years passing each month. With each season comes new events, weather, and collectibles. The Garden Path is being developed by solo dev Louis Durant, who is creating the game's art, code, and music. Having been the author of more linear point-and-click adventures, this is Durant's first project written in the Godot engine, bringing the story elements from his previous projects to something that grants more player freedom. The aim of the Garden Path is to do away with resource management and crafting-focused gameplay of other sandboxes, to become a game more about collecting and curating. Instead of harvesting resources like wood or stone, players will gather botanicals like cinnamon or basil to trade or brew into different teas. The game will also be experimenting with removing global currency, encouraging the player to learn each character's preferences when trading, or befriend them through errands and conversation. A key design goal of the game is to create a real-time game that doesn't punish the player for not playing at the right time, or even not playing at all. All of this is in an attempt to create a calming, slower-paced game where the world takes center stage, and short-term goals lead to long-term treasures. The game is roadmapped to be released this winter on PC, Mac, and Linux. To keep up to date on the title, check out Louie's website or itch page. Thanks again for each of the devs for participating in this video. We'll have links to each title in the description. Thanks for watching. For more Ask Game Dev, check out this video on Godot or this playlist of game engine showcases.